We have spent a lot of time graphing parabolas, and by now you probably have your favorite form of the equation, either standard, intercept, or vertex, and are probably wishing that if only all the equations came in your favorite form. So what we're going to work on next is how to rearrange equations so that exact wish can come true. The first thing that we're going to do is learn how to put vertex and intercept into standard form. Standard is probably not your favorite, but this is the easiest process, and we're going to reverse it to go into vertex and intercept in a way. So here we go. We are using the FOIL method. You might remember from a different math class that FOIL stands for first, outside, inside, last. It instructs us how to approach our problem. So if we look at this, and you should say to yourself automatically, that's a parabola in the intercept form with the x-intercepts of 4 and negative 6. If we wanted to rearrange that into standard form, we would say y equals 3. And then we're going to deal with these parentheses. And we're going to go first, so we're going to take the first terms, x times x, so x times x, plus the outside terms. Outside would be, well, I guess we'll do a double line here. It would be x and 6, because those are the outside terms. So we have x times 6, plus, now we're going to the inside terms. So maybe I'll put a line on top now. This would be an inside term, that would be an inside term. So plus a negative 4 times x. And finally the last term. So our last term is going to be negative 4 and positive 6. So plus negative 4 times positive 6. So if we do our multiplication here, we end up with x squared plus 6x minus 4x minus 24. Combine like terms. X squared, these are like terms, so 6x minus 4x gives us 2x minus 24. And finally, we have to distribute our 3 to each term inside our square bracket there. So we're going to have 3 times x squared plus 3 times 2x plus 3 times negative 24, which gives us 3x squared plus 6x minus, oh boy, what does that give us? 72? And there we've put it in standard form. Let's try another one. So this one you should look at and say, oh, that's a parabola, and it is in the vertex form. And if you didn't recognize that, maybe it's because we actually have a plus 0 here. So the vertex would have negative 8, 0 as the coordinates. So in this case, we don't have two sets of parentheses, so we've got to rewrite it. Y equals negative a half. And this squared just means that we write it twice. X plus 8, x plus 8, and we can leave out our 0 here. So negative a half. Now we've got to take care of our FOIL. So first is going to be x times x plus the outside. Outside is going to be x times 8 plus the inside. The inside is going to be 8 times x. And finally, the last. And the last is going to be our 8 and 8 here, so plus 8 times 8. Now we do our multiplication inside the bracket, so we have x squared plus 8x plus 8x plus 64. Then we combine like terms. X squared plus 16x plus 64. And finally, we're going to distribute our negative a half to everything inside our bracket. So we're going to have negative a half times x squared plus negative a half times 16x plus negative a half times 64, which gives us negative 1/2 x squared minus 8x minus 32. Okay, you ready to try it on your own? Why don't you give this one a try? Pause the video, and when you're ready, we'll keep going. Okay, so we're ready to go here. We have y equals negative. We're going to go first. So x times x, outside is x and negative 7, plus the inside would be negative 2 and x, and finally plus the last, negative 2 and negative 7. Be sure you're watching out for your signs here. So here we have x squared minus 7x minus 2x plus 14. Combine like terms. X squared minus 9x plus 14. And finally, negative x squared. We're distributing the negative, recall, to each term. So negative x squared plus 9x minus 14. Okie dokie, let's go on to one more. Okay, so try this one, and then pause and come back when you're ready. Here we go, our vertex form with the vertex at negative 5, negative 1. If we want to put it in standard form, we'd say y equals negative 3, x plus 5, minus 1. So that's squared, we just write it twice. Negative 3 times, well, first, x times x is x squared. Outside, x times 5 is 5x. Inside, 5 times x is 5x. And last, 5 times 5 is 25. Minus 1. So we combine like terms. Negative 3, x squared plus 10x plus 25 minus 1. Now we've got to distribute our negative 3 to each term here. So negative 3 times x squared plus negative 3 times 10x plus negative 3 times 25 minus 1. So we have negative 3x squared minus 30x minus 75 minus 1. One more combining of like terms gives us negative 3x squared minus 30x minus 76. And you should be set to go.